Mike's Daily Podcast.
Episode 1117. Hello, it's Mike Matthews broadcasting from Cafe Anyway, located somewhere in Podcastro, Valentino. Today, we hear from Madame Rootabega, Valentino, Bison Bentley, plus the return of the much-loved segment called the Daily Hayley, where we talk to Haley, the semi.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
About some interesting topics. And now I'm going to sing to you a song because it's a podcast and I get my fix.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Singing odd songs. Well, here's something that I didn't know, and that is I'm hideously ugly and I look like a toad. What? Yes, it's true, because I guess I have no appeal to the opposite sex. Though, I don't know, I feel maybe this is kind of a, subjective thing.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
I mean, I guess if I were like Trump,
Mike's
I would have
Daily
an Albanian
Podcast
model as my wife.
Yeah!
And, things would be good. But to be Trump, that would mean I'd have to look like a toad and be really rich. And that's how he works that out, whatever. Anyway, that's something I discovered over the weekend. And I had a wonderful day off on Saturday. I wrote 3 songs this weekend. I'm going to have to finish them off. I wrote lyrics, and I'm like, I haven't written a bunch of songs like that in a while. It was awesome. But I went to Point Isabel with my dog, and that would be Basil the boxer. And he ran around and played with other dogs, and I walked with him all the way from Point Isabel to the Rosie the Riveter factory. Which, when I tell people that, they stare at me like, what? Even Bay Area people. I'm like, come on! You gotta know what the Rosie the Riveter Park factory is. If you don't know that, you don't deserve to be called a Bay Area resident. Oh, I guess you do deserve to be called a Bay Area resident if you pay the incredible, crazy property taxes and other taxes that we pay here. That kind of gives you a little bit of a privilege to do that. But no, Rosie the Riveter, man, that is like one of the most famous things. Oh, look, I just walked in. Hello, Michael Matthews, it's Madame Rootabega. I was a riveter. You were? Yes, I worked on all kinds of airplanes and spaceships and flying saucers. Oops, I wasn't supposed to talk about that. Ooh. Wow, Madame Rootabega, that's fascinating. You're not really fascinated, are you? No, I'm fascinated. I can tell you're not fascinated. No. You would be fascinated if I was an Albanian model, so. If you were an Albanian model? No. I don't know. Maybe. See, Rosie the Riveter, okay, they built all those planes and stuff during World War II. And this factory, I mean, it is like when you think of a World War II old-timey factory that's right on the water. I mean, it's right there. Because and big ships could pull up right next to it. I mean, it's so awesome. Look who else just walked in. I mean, it's great maritime history. It's so cool. And then you got a great view of San Francisco and all that stuff. And the Bay Area, you can see the Bay Bridge. You can see Angel Island. I mean, come on. If you don't know about that and you live in the Bay Area, you're just so weak.
Hello, Mike. It's Valentino, the parking attendant.
And it's a Bison Bentley. Do you know that?
Mike, your Bay Area basketball team last.
I know. So sad. I actually watched the last 2 quarters, the last half of the game. I was biting my nails. Well, actually, I don't do that anymore. As a kid, I bit the crap out of my nails, but I was just like, go! This is why I don't watch basketball games. Too much excitement. I get too. Yeah, that was sad. LeBron James. He did an amazing block and threw the ball really far, and things happened, and the Warriors lost. Oh, well, they had a really, really good season. And I'd watch out next season, all you other teams. Okay, enough of the sports talk. That's about as sports talky as I get. So Basil and I walked all the way from that dog park, Point Isabel, all the way to this Rosie the Riveter place, and they got this huge room, like a big hangar that they used to build like big planes and stuff. And that hangar now, which is right on the water, it's got great views of the water. They have conventions and concerts and symphonies play there, and they had this great crafts fair going on, and there were all these awesome baby boomer hippy dippy types walking around. It was awesome. Oh, did I say it was awesome? I may be using that word a lot. Maybe that word isn't supposed to be used the way you're using it, but it was great. And then there was like food, delicious food being served, which I didn't get any because the line was crazy long. But what a beautiful day. It was my day off. I took it off from my weekend job because I said, I've had enough. I've had enough of working on my weekends. I need a day off. So I took that day off. And then went to this downtown Richmond area near Miller Knox Park. I don't know what this place is called, but it feels like Portland. It's pretty cool. And there's this new coffee place called Kaleidoscope Coffee. It's got exposed brick, it's an old building, and they exposed the brick, but then they put all this cool modern art on it. And there's like these triangles that go all along the exposed brick, and then go onto the ceiling and come down on the wall on the opposite side. And I talked to the owner of the place, and she says, oh, yeah, I made that. I'm like, you what? She's like, yeah, I made that. She's like this young, hot, 30-something woman that made that. I'm like amazed of all the creativity going on in everybody goes, Richmond, you go there to get shot and killed and die. Maybe, but there's also these awesome places, too, like the Richmond Marina. And even though it's weird because you're walking along the marina and there's all these neat boats and it's really beautiful, and then there's this huge field that's fenced off. It says, warning, hazardous waste. And it's like this big field of, weeds are growing on it and stuff. And you're like, what? There's hazardous waste there? Oh, yeah. They built ships and bombs and stuff here during World War II. So maybe some of that wasn't cleaned up. I don't know. Maybe they'll clean that up someday. There's tons of potential in that marina. There's some nice parks and stuff. Basil accidentally got away from me at one point and ran towards a Canadian goose. Lots of Canadian geese everywhere in the Bay Area. And this is something interesting I haven't noticed before. The Canadian geese are having their, what do they call their babies? Goslings? They're all over the place. I never seen this before in the Bay Area, but I don't know, maybe global warming or something has something to do with it, but there's all these like little, I heard one kid, he was riding by on a bicycle with his dad, this would have been great on Father's Day, but it was the day before Father's Day, and he's riding past with his dad, and he sees one of these goslings and says to his dad, look, Dad, it's a goose teenager. And he goes, I never see those. And I was thinking, I don't either. What a smart kid. And then I wanted to do the whole thing where Scrooge is talking to the kid after he goes through the whole ordeal with the ghosts. And he talks to the kid and says, what day is this? And the kid's like, it's Christmas Day, sir. And he says, what? Oh, what a fine, smart little chap. Go get the turkey for me. Go get the goose. I'll see it all tied back around to the geese. Fascinating. Geese. Well, what's going on?
I don't know, Mike. You went on some really extra long tangent today.
Yeah, what was that tangent about? Do you know that? I don't know that. And then I went to Santa Cruz and went on the boardwalk on Friday. I did a lot of stuff this weekend. Traffic going down from Fremont to Santa Cruz at 1:30 in the afternoon was non-existent on Friday. I was amazed. It was awesome. Got down there in like an hour, rode a couple rides at the boardwalk. It brought me back to my childhood because I rode the exact same rides that I rode when I was like 7. I think it was 7 or I was 8. I forget. But I was like, wow, what fun to go someplace that still has the rides that you remember. Their roller coaster and their log ride is kind of fun. Their log ride, basically, it pulls you up, and it's basically a flume that's sitting on top of these huge stilts above the ground. I mean, you're like 6 stories above the ground, and you're floating along on this flume, on this pretend log. And they gave me my own log. Usually they fit, like 5 people on the log. But they're like, go ahead, you have your own. I'm like, thank you. And you're cruising on this stream high above the ground. You're like you're flying on a stream. Sounds like a Beatles song. Picture yourself floating on a river high above the ground. And I'm looking down, and there's the big lagoon they have in Santa Cruz. And there's the beaches. And it was a beautiful day on Friday. Oh, that was so nice. And then I went to meet a blind date. Actually, she wasn't completely blind. I mean, she could see. But I had seen her. She had seen me through Facebook. We were introduced sort of through a mutual friend. And that was a lot of fun to talk to her. Yeah, but that's about it. I don't know. That's like, it was like a nice talk and chat, and I think nothing will come of it, but whatever. It was fun. We went to this nice beer place. It was weird. While we were talking, there was some massive police activity going on the street outside, and we're on the 2nd story of this microbrewery place. And we're watching all this stuff go down. Like the cops are blocking off the street. They've got drug-sniffing dogs. They've got rifles pulled out. Strange. And I'm talking to this girl, and I'm thinking in my head, yeah, this won't lead anywhere. Yet again! Yet again! Meanwhile, in Rome, they have elected a mayor, their first female mayor. She's in her late 30s, and she's hot. What's with the Italian women I've been talking about lately on this show? Last time it was Tara Palmieri, or whatever her name is, the reporter on CNBC. But no, it's Virginia Raggi, I think is how you say it. She's the first female mayor ever. She's part of the 5-star movement. First mayor of Rome ever that's female. Unbelievable. She's, wow, knockout. She could rule the world as far as I am concerned. Ticketmaster is selling... they've settled a $400 million lawsuit, and 50 million people are going to get discounted free tickets because of this lawsuit. Screw Ticketmaster! Frickin'. They're just out for blood, that damn company. And, so sad. So sad to hear about Anton Yelchin. Played Chekhov on the reboot of Star Trek. Killed by his car rolling back down a hill and pinning him against a mailbox. He, had one of those fenced-off houses in Los Angeles. A lot of, stars. They've got the security, the fenced-off perimeter. And I guess he got out of his car and it rolled back. As far as we know, that's all that happened. It was just a horrific accident. And it killed him. I only hope that he went quick. But, so sad. He's so young. He was only 27. And interesting thing about him, his parents were famous Russian ice skaters. And he thought about ice skating for a while, but it wasn't for him. He was more interested in acting, and he loved the improvisational elements of acting. And he's been in a lot of movies. He was in that Alpha Dog. He's been in a bunch of horror movies. He was in this movie with Ben Kingsley. And then Star Trek catapulted him to fame. So he was in some love story movie, kind of a lot of art films. So sad. Anyway, crazy weekend. And then the whole thing wrapped up with the Warriors losing, and just all kinds of highs and lows this weekend. And such is life, isn't it? So, and then you possibly, if you listened to the last show, you noticed that I accidentally played a Jarrell Name that I had already played. So I don't know if you picked up on that. I do have a new Jarrell Neme. We'll probably get to next show. We'll see. But yeah, Jarrell was the first to notice that. And he texted me and said, "Hey, I'm getting deja vu." And I'm like, "What? Oh no. Did I just repost the same show?" Yeah. Well, check out all the past shows, even the ones that got replayed in what were supposed to be new shows, all there at mikesdailypodcast.com. You can help support the show through the Amazon link. Click on that and buy whatever it is you're going to buy, and we get a little thing from that. Tiny little thing from Amazon. But at least they're not Ticketmaster. At least they're not frickin' Ticketmaster. And then also there is the PayPal if you'd like to help support the show through that and donate. And you'll get a special greeting from all the Cafe Anyway characters. That we'll all get together and give you a greeting, special MP3. And that's all there at mikesdailypodcast.com and the past podcast pictures. Speaking of which,
and here's today's podcast picture.
The Conservatory of Flowers in Golden Gate Park is what I am standing in front of. It was a beautiful day. When did this is a little over a year ago I took that picture. Yeah. Oh, it was such a fun day. San Francisco. I took Bart to the Civic Center and then caught a bus to the Haight-Ashbury area and then walked around Golden Gate Park. It was so much fun. So nice. There's so much to see in San Francisco. I'm getting a little lightheaded. I think we need to go to the Daily Haley and let Haley talk a little bit. Okay, here we go.
The Daily Haley. The almost Daily Haley.
Greetings, Haley! How are you today, Haley?
So did Henry Winkler do anything aside from the Fonz and then all of those weird dad roles? Like, did he do anything in between?
That's a bizarre way to start this segment called The Daily Haley.
It's been bugging me all morning.
Well, as soon as you said Henry Winkler, I thought of the Fonz, and then I thought of him on Arrested Development where he played the lawyer that was like really sleazy and a bumbling idiot.
Oh, was he? I've seen maybe one episode of Arrested Development, so I don't really know anything about it.
At one point, he's having a conversation with Jeffrey Tambor's character in a bathroom, and Jeffrey Tambor leaves, and so now Henry Winkler's all alone in the bathroom, and he looks in the mirror, he starts to comb his hair, and then he goes, "Hey!" Like a little homage to the Fonz.
That's sad.
Why is it sad?
Because he's changed so much. It's very strange to see him now and think that he was the Fonz. Hey.
People age. Did you not know that? People age and they change and time goes by and they don't look anything like they were back in the 70s.
I agree. I'm talking about the, like the way that he acts. And his personality within his roles has done like a 360 from what he used to be.
Well, you know, the thing is, though, even when he was the Fonz, he when he was like interviewed, he'd be like, "Who? That's not the Fonz." His personality is so, "Hey, how are you? Hey, I'm a sensitive male guy."
So honestly, he's kind of grown into himself, but it's still a bit of a, considering that the Fonz is like the most iconic television character, debatably.
I will not debate you on that.
Especially when you're talking about, say, the baby boomer generation. It's very strange to see a complete 360 in his acting personality.
Yeah. I wonder what other actors did that. Do you know?
No.
Do you know any?
No.
That changed from what they were to something else?
Ray Romano used to be someone who was on a TV show, and now he's a mammoth.
That's true. He's turned into a mammoth. And then he was on that show Vinyl playing like a coked out record rep. That was bizarre. Oh, and in women, as they get older, you know, and their bodies change, they go from like sex kittens on the screen, right? Meow.
Yeah.
And then they turn into like different women, older grandmothers.
They have to do that. That's not like an option for them because once they hit like 35, no one wants them in a romantic role anymore for some reason.
Do you know who's still hot to me no matter how old she gets? Mary Steenburgen.
I thought you were going to say Betty White.
Betty White.
She's hilarious.
She's got a quick wit.
She does. It's funny because you see, she's still doing so many things and she's still hilarious nowadays. Mm-hmm. But one of the channels that my parents watch a lot shows Match Game 76.
Oh!
And she was on that show every now and then, and she is just as funny as ever on that show. But at the same time, she has changed because just the total difference is, imagine her back in 76 compared to now. Mm-hmm. You can kind of imagine that she would have changed.
Yeah.
It's almost like the culture has changed her.
Yes.
Because how women are viewed in society is so much different back then than it is now.
Yeah.
So it's like she was playing the role that she was supposed to as a woman in society at that point while still being Betty White.
Ah.
And nowadays, she doesn't care.
What a very fantastic analysis. Did you notice on Match Game PM or whatever they called it, Match Game?
76.
Match Game 76. It was Richard Dawson on it. He was the host of The Family Feud.
Yes. He was the staple character, staple celebrity character in the crowd, and he was the one that always got it right.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, you know what's sad, though? A lot of those guys that were on Match Game ended up dying of what's that stomach cancer that you get when you eat like way too much like red meat and you drink too much. They like all died from like the same thing. It was weird.
Are you talking about ulcers, as they would call them back then, I suppose?
Maybe. I don't know. But I'm like, I noticed like a similarity because he died of the same thing as, not Charles Nelson Riley, who was also on Match Game.
Was he the one that always wore the sunglasses?
Yeah. No, I was watching it the other day, and I was laughing my butt off. Match Game.
It is a fun show, and you can tell most of them are not sober.
Wah, do 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 wah, do do do, and the little microphones that have the tiny little. Haley, did you know I did a thing with Jarrell called Jarrell Name, and I went to post it today on the podcast because this is Friday, we're recording this, and I posted a previous Jarrell Name that I had already posted instead of the new one. I'm an idiot. That. So Jarrell wrote me, he goes, hey, I'm having a sense of deja vu, of Jarrell Javu. And I go, oh, why? Because you're listening to the podcast and it's something that we played, that we recorded yesterday. He goes, no, you recorded that 3 days ago and you played it already, dang it. So I'm an idiot. Anyway, Haley, thanks for the great advice you gave me when I pissed off that girl in Santa Cruz.
Anytime.
That was a mean text she sent back to me, but I deserved it because I double booked my friends and I made them feel bad. And you pointed out to me the error of my ways.
Nothing's black and white. Everything is shades of gray. Not a lot of them. I don't want to get extreme. There's probably maybe 3. No more.
More than words. You said extreme.
More than words.
Haley, all these people are walking by this room and looking. Hello there. They don't know what we're doing. They have no. That was Craig and Keith.
Keith, what a nice guy.
He's a nice fella, huh? Mm-hmm. Any other thoughts? Let the show be yours, your platform, to do whatever. Jump off this platform into the blue of the world.
I was already doing that when I mentioned Henry Winkler in the first thing I said.
Oh, okay. we had an interesting conversation today, me and several people at the station, about how Mike brings us delicious